I just need to make sure that this thing actually works, Ryan. Hopefully this thing actually people can
hopefully people can see and hear us at this point.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, last night my microphone just decided to die in the middle of the RPG cave.
Did it really?
Luckily it's working again. But and luckily it was like only like 4 minutes into the show. And then we just restarted from there. But it was just so hopefully that doesn't happen again. But you never know.
Seems to work. Seems to work. We can see and hear y'all, says Seth. Thank you, Seth. I feel like everything I say, Ryan, is going to be like my last breath. I'm just
going to be your last breath.
I'm like, I'm pushing so much energy just to speak at this point, but I'm happy to be here. It's been too long, man. It's been far too long since I've been on this show. Didn't want anybody to get too comfortable. Didn't want Court thinking he's taking my spot. I saw Kevin getting a little comfy, like, oh, okay, I could get used to this. No, you can't, Kevin. No, you can't.
I mean, I'm going to be on Kevin's show tomorrow, Sean.
So, snap.
It's one of those things where we're, if anything, we want to try and invade over at Save the Game Media rather than invading us.
Don't you? Well, strategy. Mergers and acquisitions aren't allowed anymore, okay? We gotta compete. Sean came in swinging. I don't even know what's going on, Lachlan.
This is what happens when Sean's on not much sleep.
I can't say that now. Like the last 2 nights I have had sleep, so I just need to.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, like I'm catching up a little bit. My nutrition has not been the best, honestly. I've had a lot of Powerade and Saltine crackers.
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, I think it's just you haven't been on a podcast since like last Tuesday, so it's been more than a week since the last time you were on a podcast, Sean. So I think you're just getting the rust off.
That's right.
The pot.
Shake it off.
You're, like I'm amazed because I know that you're kind of addicted to doing podcasts, Sean. You just can't help yourself from doing them. So it's like I'm amazed you actually went a whole week without doing a podcast.
It wasn't good. To think about. Maybe that's what all the trouble was about. It's like maybe that's what I thought it was food poisoning, but maybe it was podcast withdrawal.
You just got the shit.
Like, what the hell?
You're like, I need to get on a podcast. I need to talk about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, they should just
talk about eShop stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I should not have been consuming crackers and Powerade, but instead just give me a microphone, man. I mean, I got through Extra Life 20 some odd hours into that thing. Holy cow.
That's true.
But it's been too long since I've been on this show, dude.
You didn't take the Ryan Turford strategy either, whereas I usually am all about fruits and veggies, and that's pretty much all I eat during like a 24-hour stream to try and keep myself like naturally energized instead of using crackers and energy drinks.
Well, that's the funny. So I had like half a Red Bull for Extra Life, and that was it. I bought 4. Like I had extra stuff, and it got to a point too where after Extra Life was done, I actually stopped consuming caffeine because I wanted to. If I had a chance to fall asleep, I didn't want to be kept up by caffeine and stuff. So there was actually basically most of Saturday, all of Sunday, Monday, and actually today. What is today? Wednesday. Today was the first time I had a coffee since caffeine since since Saturday morning. So yeah, there you have it.
And the crazy thing, Sean, is that McDonald's has cheap coffee at the moment, so you can go there and get like a $1 coffee in Ontario. Or it was actually like the other day on Monday, it was free. Everyone got a free coffee if you used the app, which was interesting.
Well, that sounds great. I was figuring out how to get home. That sounds awesome.
I know. But it'll probably happen again.
Can I tell you the option that they gave me? They're like, okay, well, the flight from Calgary to Edmonton has been canceled. But if you like, we can get you on a flight from Calgary to Vancouver and then Vancouver to Edmonton, and you'll land at 1 a.m. Dude, I almost started crying as a grown-up to another grown-up in person. I almost started weeping. I was complete, like, beyond my edge. And she's like, she gave it, like, with a straight face, she's like, we could do this. Like, you're not even gonna, like, preface that with any sort of, I know this might not be ideal. I know you've been traveling from New York to this. Like, I couldn't even handle it, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll have you home at 1 a.m. and possibly have you stranded in Vancouver instead of here.
Yeah, because I mean, who's to say like the weather would have been clear between Vancouver and Edmonton at that point?
It still has to go to Edmonton.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man, just a nightmare. That we're past it. It makes us bigger, stronger, faster.
Ethan's home. And now we're going to talk about Xbox. Yeah, we're going to be Xbots.
I don't even know what. It's
be great.
I don't even know what's been going on. All right, how do we do this thing? Do I do this thing?
You just yell at the camera and we just get into it, or if Sean, you can talk really loudly today instead of yelling. if your voice isn't really
nuts
there.
to that. Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. I'm glad you're here because you're listening to the most horsepowerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford. He's the weatherman on the moose and on the journey today. I'm back, baby, so jump on into the Xbox Drive. Bra, 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 bra. Did you miss me?
No power greater than X.
Enough of this being tired garbage, Ryan Turford. I am back. I was in New York. I'm now back in Canada. It's 26 below. I'm beating you to the weather report. I don't care. I'm back, man. It's good to see you. Nobody can take my place on this podcast. No Court, no Kevin. Thanks to them for covering me. I couldn't have done it without them. But man, feels good to be back on the Xbox Drive, my friend.
Man,
how are you?
I'm first of all, I'm doing well, Sean. I'm not going to mention the weather.
You can't beat me.
Here.
You can't beat me. No, there's no way, dude. We have
you a little bit because it's 12 degrees outside today, Sean.
Not extraordinary.
Like above zero. It's not snowing.
Medium, in fact, like mediocre weather report.
In fact, I don't know if you've seen the memes on Twitter, Sean, of people comparing Western Canada to Eastern Canada, where it's like it's Mario like freezing to death, and it's Western Canada, and then Eastern Canada is Mario in like the bathing suit running around the beach. Like, that's basically what it's been like here. We're in like shorts and t-shirt weather for the last week here. So it's just actually you do that because you were in New York. It was probably pretty warm there.
I saw it, man. I saw the whole I flew out of it. I've experienced it. I want to tell you that it's so cold here, and many people don't experience cold like this, Ryan. A lot of people don't really know what's going on here. At this stage, if your car is outside, you just start it just to see if it can start, and just to make sure that you haven't gone too long without it running. You just start the car and let it sit there. That's it. What a wait at what $4 a liter? Ryan, whatever we're at this point, almost $2 a liter. Not only are we doing weather updates on this show, we're doing gas price updates. What else can we do, man? What's baby formula at?
We're going to do stonks here. We're going to talk about our stonks.
Stonks. That's right. That's right.
The dollar amount of Dogecoin is going for at this point.
Yep. Can you buy toilet paper? Is there baby formula available? Everything except for Xbox, except for the fact that we're on the Xbox Drive, and I'm so stoned. Dude, I am out of my mind right now, dude. It's going to be an interesting show. I don't know what even is going on. I'm glad that you're here. There's show notes, apparently. God help us all.
We're actually seeing firsthand what happens when Sean goes off caffeine for 6 days and then he drinks his coffee for the
I am
first
unraveling.
time
Dude, no, I'm on fumes. I am completely at my wit's end. I want to give a shout out. There's so many shout outs to happen here, man.
Yes.
Lachlan and Seth took care of the Nintendo Drive yesterday, and I actually got to sleep. So that was actually pretty good. We raised, we'll get into it, but we raised a ton of money for Extra Life, and a lot of people are here in the chat, and I appreciate everybody. So a lot is going on. Ryan is my grounding factor here, though, so I appreciate you being here, my friend.
Well, again, thanks for coming back, Sean. I really missed you over the last couple of weeks, and no one can really take your place on the show. Let's just be real. So I'm glad to have you back, and we're gonna talk about some stuff today and goof around and do all that good stuff. But before we get on to all that stuff, we should clear the garage a little bit. So folks at home, if you want to support the show, there's a number of awesome ways to do that. Number one, if you're watching the live stream right meow over at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, or if you're watching the video on demand later, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and don't forget to let us know in the comments below if you're excited about the Gears of War movie that we're actually going to try and put together a little bit later in the show. Or again, ring that notification bell to be notified when we put up new videos, just like the plethora of God of War videos that we're putting up today. So look out for that. Also, if you want this show a little bit early or some exclusive content, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Throw a little tip in the old tip jar. Just like our newest patrons, Sheldon Benedict and Travis Hansen Pollock. Huge thank you for them for jumping on in. And also, huge thank you to John32 for leveling up to the exclusive tier. Huge thank you to all of our patrons. And of course, enjoy all those sweet, sweet perks over on Patreon. Also, if you want an Xbox Drive t-shirt or another Carpool Gaming branded t-shirt, head over to our merch store, bit.ly/CPG merch. And then last but not least, Sean, we mentioned earlier, Extra Life Game Day has officially ended, but we are still raising money until the end of the year, until the end of 2022. Our fundraising page is still open. So if you are interested in donating, if you missed, Game Day over the weekend, or if you wanted to, save some money and then donate later, all good. Our donation page is extra-life.org/participant/save the carpool trophy. And with all that out of the way, Sean, I know you want to, you knew going in, I was gonna have to ask you about this a little bit, but how was Extra Life? Did you have fun? What happened?
Extra Life blew my entire mind. I think that that's partly why I'm such an absolute disaster today. We had an amazing time, and we got to invite so many new people to Rome, New York to experience Extra Life for the very first time. The thing that I've been talking about for months at this point, for years, really, if you've been paying attention for a long time, a lot of people got to experience it for the first time, and we had an absolutely jam-packed room, dude. It was like, I think probably 100 people all crammed into this space. We definitely have maxed out the number of people who can be at this community college space in Rome. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Badbit, who went to or found that there is a Mohawk Valley Community College, not only in Rome, but also in Utica, New York. So you went to the wrong place, even though he's been there before. So shout out to Joe and Babbitt. We had couches, Ryan Turford. We had a couch. The Nintendo dads had a couch. And most importantly of all, there's so many details, I don't even know where to start first, but the most important thing is that we set out a goal to raise $5,000. One of the things that was going to happen at that point was I was going to change my Twitter profile to a lovely illustration by Lockliff of an absolute abomination created by George Lucas, Jar Jar Binks. So people can go to my Twitter at Sean Capri. It is now, my profile picture is now that illustration, lovingly crafted by Lachlan. It will be that for 6 months because very quickly, very early in the 25 hour stream, we reached our $5,000 goal. And
that was actually like, it was only like 4 or 5 hours in, especially because we had already raised before the event started, like I think 3,500.
Yeah, something like that. We did such a great job getting everybody, and we did a great job. The community really rallied on this and pushed us to raise a lot of money right at the start. So pushing past that $5,000 goal was incredible. And at that stage, we're like, wouldn't it be hilarious if we set our goal for 6,900? Nice. And so we did, and blew past 6,900. And then all of a sudden we're like, okay, so this is about as ridiculous as it gets. Let's meme it out and make it over 9,000. Let's get a Dragon Ball Z reference up in here. Our goal then turned to $9,001 because it has to be over 9,000. And what did people do? They got us right there, man. And it's still coming in even afterwards. So as much as I want to talk about what happened and all the games we played, and Kevin from Save the Game Media playing NHL for the very first time and not understanding any of the rules or anything that was happening in hockey, it was super fun. Most important out of anything is we all got together and we raised a boatload of cash. The rivalry with the Nintendo dads has resulted in, I think, $17,000 raised between the two teams, $9,000 by us, and they're over $8,000 over there. Like, they've continued to keep pushing there. So Phoenix Overdrive is in the top 25 teams on planet Earth for Extra Life. Like, we passed Team Reddit, we passed like Team Maxis, I think. Like, it was incredible. And
we had a rivalry all day where we were kind of neck and neck, and they ended up actually beating us. They went to like 36,000 or something. So
whatever.
But we still have time to catch up. We have time to catch up to Team Reddit. But Team Beanox, the studio that makes Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions and a bunch of games. There's a bunch of different crazy companies. I mean, we were better than Rooster Teeth. Just to throw it out there,
dude. That's insane. And the thing is that Nintendo Dads joined the whole Phoenix Overdrive. What am I saying? Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team later on. So their total actually doesn't contribute towards our Phoenix Overdrive. So I do believe that we're going to be doing that next year. So we actually, if you really put those two together, then we're top tier. And like just out of little old Rome, New York, just out of a couple little podcasts on the internet, and greatness is happening, and I couldn't be more proud of everybody for coming together. The prizes that we offered were amazing, and we did it in support of Miles. We're giving away a bunch of these bobbies that Lindsay O'Neill is crafting by herself. So, dude, there's so much. Thanks to Xbox Canada as well for providing codes that we're going to be giving away as soon as I get my head strapped on here. We can start awarding some of these prizes that we have locked away for people. So. Kevin in the chat says, I still don't quite get hockey. There's, we'll expose you to a little bit more, my friend. But Extra Life was crazy, man. We had like Robbie Bobby Miller and Miguel were there, and Jace was playing Mario Party with people up in the back, and Dave Moore was making me drink God knows what. It was like sweet corn soda. It was the worst thing I've ever tasted. He's like, hey, I know you just had like food poisoning yesterday, but like here, consume this. I'm like, thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
I mean, even the people who didn't suffer food poisoning apparently did not like some of these snacks, because it seemed like he brought like a hit or miss bundle of like, here's the good snacks and here are the ones that are, well, not so good.
No, it was, and also Shadow. Speaking of food poisoning, I had not the greatest Thursday night going into this thing, but Miguel got me some saltine crackers, so I appreciate you, Miguel, for that, and also Justin Masson literally showed up at my hotel room. First, I cracked open the door and he looks at me and goes like, "Oh no." I was not looking so good, but he handed over 2 giant Powerades and a bunch of crackers, and that got me moving. That got us to Nintendo New York on Friday. We did a great meetup. I bought a Jinx Pokemon stuffy for my daughter and a Piplup for Lincoln, and I was just so excited to give it to him. So, but it's good to be home, my friend. We crammed in so much into so little amount of time. We got real close with each other on the train to New York, but man, I got to find another place to talk about Extra Life, because there's so much to cover.
We'll talk about it at some point, going down the road, whether it's you make a pre-podcast or something else, because there's a lot to unpack here, as you said. So yeah, I'm excited to talk more about this.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, and it was it was a good viewing experience, even watching from home.
Oh, good.
Getting to see all you all together, and getting to, one of my favorite moments as well was Kevin crushing in the Smash Brothers tournament. And
oh my God, that was awesome.
Watching that, it was so good. So. We'll have a lot.
We missed you, buddy. Sorry, I know I'm going on here, and I know you were wanting to go, and things at the last minute didn't work out. So I apologize.
I'm kind of like everyone else at Carpool Gaming with the FOMO this year.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Seth, Lockliff, and Matt all had the FOMO this year. So I think next year you're probably going to have like a packed Carpool Gaming house.
Well, I'm not apologizing for throwing it in their faces. It's not your fault that you weren't able to make it. No, those guys, y'all made your choices. You know what I mean? Most of them don't even need a passport to come to Rome, New York, except for Matt. Matt needs it. But there you go.
Exactly. We would have been fine if the event was in Canada, but it's going.
It should be in Canada. Do you guys know what the exchange rate is? Good God. I'm putting this stuff on my mortgage.
Sean, but then looping back to our conversation about what the weather's like in Edmonton, I'm like,
true enough. Maybe I didn't say it doesn't have to be out here. It's warm in Toronto or our surrounding areas.
That's true. It is like 20.
We can go to the GTA.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we should probably start talking about Xbox now. Let's grab our 8 tracks.
Okay.
Pop them in. It's time for the playlist. And Sean, since you went on this whole diatribe, I want to give your voice a little bit of the rest, because usually I have you go first on the playlist. But I'll talk about the games that I play.
I want to hear about this Sonic, man. Can we start with Sonic? I got to hear about Sonic.
We can start with Sonic.
I heard it's better than Bayonetta. I heard Seth say unequivocally that it's better than Bayonetta 3.
I mean, Seth has his own set of opinions there. I personally don't think it's better than Bayonetta 3, but I'm actually really enjoying Sonic Frontiers, so I'm actually playing it on PlayStation. I'm not playing it on Xbox. I know, I'm such a dirty PlayStation player.
Oh, God.
But I don't know why I decided to pick it up there. I had rewards credit from PlayStation, so
Makes
that's
sense.
why I decided to pick it there. But it runs really well if you play it in the 60 frames per second mode. For some reason, the game starts you in the 4K 30 frames per second mode without giving you an option to change it off the start. So I thought it was like weird and jarring that with the frame rate. But when it runs at 60, it's beautiful. Like, I love the mix and match between the standard Sonic levels where you're running through different environments and you're doing all kinds of platforms and you're running super fast through loop-de-loops and collecting rings. And the contrast between that and the open world, because I actually like the open world a lot more than I thought I would. Because when the idea of, hey, Sonic plus Breath of the Wild put together, let's see how this turns out, I was like, oh no, this sounds like a terrible idea. But in practice, it's actually pretty fun. Like, I like the idea of first of all, the environments themselves are big enough where Sonic has enough space to roam around, because of course you're moving around the environments very quickly. But I also didn't find that they're like too difficult to do pinpoint movements on specific things. For example, there will be puzzles in the environment that you need to solve. Like, you have to step on specific blocks in the environment or solve puzzles in the environment, and some of them are very simple in the tutorial area, but some of them get much more complex as the game goes on. And I haven't really found like any too much trouble navigating Sonic to do all that stuff, because I saw in some of the reviews a lot of people were complaining about the idea of Sonic feel like when he slows down, he's a little bit hard to control. But I wasn't really finding that with my playthrough. But I'm just having a lot of fun exploring the environments, taking down these giant bosses that are just walking around the open world. But then also jumping into these, cyberspace levels that are, more of the traditional Sonic experience, sometimes in 3D, sometimes in 2D. And I think it's definitely one of the best 3D Sonic games I've ever played, if not the best one at this point. Like Sonic Colors is the other one that I would say is probably the best Sonic game before this in 3D. And this one I think is probably, I'm liking it more than Sonic Colors, but I'm also very early on in the experience because it did just come out, yesterday. So it's just one of those things where I'm
Early
not very far
impressions.
in the game itself. But I am having a ton of fun with Sonic, and I can't wait to play more of it. In fact, I'm thinking about it as we're talking about it. Like, I want to go back and play more of it. But so Sonic, I actually think this might be a winner. Like, even though it only got like a 73 on Metacritic, I think if you're a Sonic fan, like this is the game you've been waiting for. I think so.
I'm telling you, man, like I need to do, like, this is something I think Luke Lore from Xbox Expansion Pass has been on to for quite some time. I think some of these 7s are some of the most fun games to play. Like, it's this weird thing of, I don't know, there's some sort of polish that doesn't take it to up to 8s and 9s and whatever, but like it's a 7 because the gameplay is so solid, I think, is basically what I read from that.
Well, not only that too, it's the 7 from Metacritic is also a weird thing because there were 3 different outlets that gave a game a 1 out of 10.
Oh,
so which totally tanks the score.
Is that even a thing? Is that even who's giving it a 1 out of 10? I'm sorry.
There's a couple outlets that did that.
Sorry.
And I'm just like, then I read the reviews. I'm like, this does not line up with what you gave it.
How are they on Metacritic? How it's not like anybody just gets on there, you know?
No, exactly. That's the weirdest thing about it.
We gotta get on there.
I think actually, if it didn't get those scores, it would actually be probably like pretty close to an 80.
We got to get on. But that's you know what Court was asking me about a new goal. Let's get on OpenCritic. Let's get on Metacritic. How do we set our path for that? That's 2023. As
we don't even though we don't give numbered scores, we need to get on.
We're gonna do numbered scores. That's a new announcement. We're officially announcing. Totally doing numbered scores. I don't care. We're getting on Metacritic.
God. But no. So the gameplay's really fun. The story, of course, it's Sonic. So I don't expect a good story in Sonic. There is one that's there. I mean, Sonic and his friends are trapped in a cyber dimension, and that's basically all you need.
Hate it when that happens.
Yeah, it exists, but the gameplay is super fun, and the open world is fun to explore. So yeah, I'm having fun with it. I'll talk about it more probably on next week's show, but so far so good. Also, this is a game that I think would actually probably really benefit from a demo. Because
I'd love to try it.
Speculating on this one because if you don't like Sonic, maybe you wouldn't want to go and buy like a full price game to try it out. But I think it like a demo would probably sell people on this game more than I thought at first before going into this. So I would love to see Sega do this.
I probably should. I threw Seth a little bit under the bus. I said that Seth said that this is better than Bayonetta. He said in the chat he did not say that. I'm just exaggerating maybe a little bit of what he said. Of course.
Well, actually, we mentioned Sonic Frontiers a couple times during the RPG Cave last night, and of course Seth chimed in saying, "Yes, it's so fun." So we both, Seth and I think are on the same page with this game. I think we're both really enjoying it. So. We'll talk about that more.
Dude, actually, I haven't even had a chance to like evaluate my like gaming landscape. I can't even tell you like what I'm playing. I played a bunch of like Forza Horizon 5 in the middle of the night for Extra Life, but like I don't even know what's on deck. That's how completely out of my mind I am right now. I couldn't tell you if I were to fire up a console right now, I don't know what's next. Like I literally don't have no idea.
There's also way too much choice too. Like there's so many.
Man.
Like we're in the middle of the 5 months of back to back games at this point.
I think it's Mario Rabbids. I think that's what's on deck. If I really think about it, that game I'm having a lot of fun with. That's probably what's on deck. But I'm totally like I want to play this. And God of War just came out on that other system that's over there taking up way too much. I want to say too, there were so many people who were gonna bring a PS5 to Extra Life, and they're like, I can't fit it. I can't bring it.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of people on that note took a look at my Series S and were like, that's how small it is. Like a lot of people had seen it for the very first time and they're like, oh snap, I think I might need to get one of those things. It's amazing. The Series S is so good, man.
Honestly, the Series S out of the non-Nintendo consoles is probably like the easiest one to transport. It's like the most travel-friendly console out there, I think.
So crazy, dude. Yeah, very cool.
So then also, I talked about it on last week's show, but I'm almost done Star Ocean: The Divine Force. In fact, I'm pretty much, even though I'm like chomping at the bit to go back to Sonic, I do really want to finish Star Ocean at this point. I'm 88% of the way through the game at this point, and I'm kind of ready to wrap up the experience. So I'm maybe like 5 or 10 hours away from finishing it. Really, really enjoying that game a lot, especially I talked about it on last week's show with Kevin. But it really reminds me of the Tales games, where clearly someone at Square Enix has been playing the Tales games and is like, "Ooh, what if we made our own Tales game?" And that's pretty much what this game is, except it's in space with like laser guns and stuff.
Wait, what is it called? I missed it. I'm looking at the chat with Kirby stuff.
Oh, Star Ocean: The Divine Force.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So I'm almost done it. I'm really excited to kind of put my thoughts together for a upcoming review on the RPG Cave that should be happening probably next week at the rate I'm going. But really enjoying that game as well. So there's lots of great stuff to choose from at this point. Again, I've also played a little Bayonetta. I played a little Mario plus Rabbids. I got the Sega Genesis Mini 2.
Yes.
I got my God of War Collector's Edition that's on the floor over there that I got unboxed today. So it's just like, there's like way too much at this point. So I got to focus and finish the 2 games I'm on right now is Sonic Frontiers and Star Ocean, and the game I'm playing that I can't talk about yet. So
I would love to do like this is, and sometimes I would love to do it. Who knows if it's possible? I'm still like having an absolute like crisis of existing right now. As I have so many things to get. I literally have messages to people. Like I owe people so many things. I'm trying to figure it all out. But with all that said, one of the things I would love to do, because it's probably the biggest game of the holiday season, is I want to talk about God of War with you and Court and Matt and anybody. Like I don't know if Garrett's playing it. I don't know what Seth's plans or like what. If we can get like a roundtable chat about God of War, I think that would be so great. But I've got to figure out, like I'm the bottleneck as always. Whenever I can figure out how to
you say
get
that
around
though,
to
Sean,
it all.
but I've got quite a pile of games on.
Yeah, but you actually get through it.
I don't know when I'll get to God of War at this point, because Tactics Ogre also comes out on Friday, and I'm excited to play that. And already with the games I'm already playing right now, like I'm good probably until like early December when Midnight Suns and Callisto Protocol come out, and then Crisis Core comes out a week later. Like it's just, I don't know when I'll get to God of War.
Speaking of the latest and greatest games, Ryan Turford, and Xbox, none of the above. I played Bloodborne in the middle of the night at Extra Life. Dude, that game is so good. But Disaster struck because I wasn't playing on my own system. I was playing on Kyle's, and my progress didn't save. So I made all this like I went exploring, and I got the feel back for Bloodborne and everything, and nothing saved. I lost all of it, man. But that game is so great. And the other thing I want to tell you is, because I think I got Seth sold on Forza Horizon 5, I played a bunch of the Eliminator, which is a battle royale that I don't think many people know is in there. It's just like part of one of the things that you can do in Forza. And it's like 45 people drop onto a map, and you go and try and find better cars. You start out with a old Volkswagen Beetle, and you try to get like all these better cars. You race people one-on-one to eliminate them from the battle royale, and it was a blast, man. I just kept doing like one more. Let's just do one more. I kept doing that, man. So shout out to Forza Horizon 5 and this battle royale that's in there that was kind of thrown in there when everything had a battle royale. I don't think we've really been talking about like the next PUBG or the next Fortnite or whatever else in quite some time. But that's in there, and shout out to the Eliminator, my friend.
Who knew that Forza Horizon 5 would be the next Fortnite or, PUBG at this point? The Eliminator.
It's pretty fun.
But because especially we had talked about when they added it on the show before, but we never, I don't think any of us actually went and played it after they added it.
I'd played it, but again, like that's why I wanted to bring it up, because, and this is the thing with all video games, and we get so hyped up about what's coming up now, but there's all this stuff. It's just like what we talk about with Game Pass, where we get so hung up on like what the next announcement is, but how often do you really look at like the entire library and go, oh snap, I'm pretty good with what's here already. I don't need to hang my entire like valuation of Game Pass on what's coming in the next 2 weeks. I should really be looking at what's there. What's my backlog in Game Pass look like?
Well, again, speaking of old games getting updated, I mean Halo's updates out today too.
Oh yeah,
so we got to play that at some point too.
Oh, network campaign co-op, my friend. Holy cow!
Yeah, I'm also excited to play some of the Forge maps, because like the Forge beta is out, so it'll be interesting to play some of those wonky maps that people are going to make, or just all the GoldenEye maps. We need to play all the GoldenEye maps.
Oh, are they there? Is that actually like we think that's going to be there?
They'll probably make them, but yeah, they don't. The Forge beta is part of this update, so someone will probably make those. Just like someone's going to make all the old Halo maps. Like they're going to make Battle Creek, and they're going to make Blood Gulch and all those maps for Infinite. Probably
it's too much. I feel like I've reached maximum. Like I've always think like there's a way. If there's a will, there's a way. I'm like, I just don't know about that anymore, Ryan.
There's too many games, Sean.
There's too many things.
speaking of too many games, let's slam the brakes on this conversation, Sean. It's time for some breaking news because we're going to talk about something that's not a game for the first time in a while in this podcast. Netflix made an announcement yesterday, to celebrate, the anniversary of the original Gears of War. They've partnered with the Coalition for a live action Gears of War film, as well as an animated, or what they call an adult animated Gears of War series to follow after that. So, Sean, I want to do something fun with you. I want us to plan out the Gears of War movie. Like, first of all, like, do we think it'll, focus, with the original team of Gears, like with Marcus and Dom? Is it going to be like a spin-off and focus on like other cogs? Is it going to focus on like the Gears 5 and 4 storyline? How do you think they're going to approach the Gears of War movie? And also, why is Chris Pratt going to play Marcus Phoenix?
No, don't do that. Don't do that at all.
It had to be said. You knew it had to be said.
I think one of the things that hopefully we can look forward to with this is that it's being created now that the 5 games have been there, and also tactics and everything else that's kind of come along with it. So what I mean by that is I think maybe people felt a little bit like jarred, or it was jarring to go from 3 to 4. And it's like, who are all these people? And like, what's happening? And it made this turn. I actually think that they can start to plant some seeds earlier on like the Kate is going to be part of this, or that there's going to be like a future kind of piece to turn that we didn't really get, because they didn't know that when they created the first game. They're just like creating the first game. So I think we can get more like the totality of the universe in the beginning is probably what I'm hoping for the most. But like, it's funny because I was actually sometimes when I go to sleep, Brian, I like to watch a movie while I do it. So of all the nice sleepy movies to put on, I put on one of your favorites, Ridley Scott's Alien. Yes. I watched that last night. And I feel like these two movies are somewhat similar, actually. I think E-Day is just a fascinating thing that should be the centerpiece of this show. I don't really want to get too much into like government and all these other things, but like maybe why Marcus is such a badass and like what did he do wrong? And because you remember like the first game, it starts out he's in jail. It's like, what did he do? Like I just think that first game sets up so well. I don't actually want too much like deviance from the story that we know here, but I think that it can benefit from all the additional pieces that were added on later, that they don't have to come as much as a surprise or as shocking later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you and I are on a similar page, where I also thought as well, like post E-Day, but like show maybe the events of E-Day and then have it take place not too far from when E-Day happens.
Yeah.
I think that's probably like the best timeline for when something like this happens, but I kind of want them to go in a different direction where, I don't know if you've checked out Cyberpunk Endrunners on
I should. No, I'm busy watching movies from the 1970s, Ryan, instead of the newness.
Hey, I will never, fault you for that. But
that movie is so good.
Runners,
holy cow.
Is an original anime series done by Studio Trigger, who made Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill and a bunch of great anime shows. And it's set in the Cyberpunk universe, but it doesn't really involve the main cast of Cyberpunk. It basically is, this side story of of other people in that universe, because the universe in Cyberpunk is so vast, and there's a lot of stories to tell in that world, that I felt like that was a great direction for that show to go in, and it paid dividends because that show is awesome.
Yeah.
So I would love to see them do something similar with Gears, where I almost hope that they don't follow the main cast.
No.
And
okay.
Maybe they intersect with, Marcus's story during this timeline, and maybe explain some of the things that you talked about, Sean. But I almost would rather them focus on their own group of characters.
Okay, so here's who it is, Ryan. The first at least episode or two completely focused on the entire Carmine family. Who are they? Let's fall in love with these people. But obviously they're all going to be murdered. At some point, none of them survive. Part of me, as I think about this maybe a little bit more, I start to think that this could be almost like set up in almost like a Dragon Ball style, where the big bad keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And one of the things that I really kind of regret, or I guess I wish could be explored more within the first game, was one of the greatest villains who's ever been created in video games ever, General Rom, is amazing. And he got part of one game. And it's oh man. So I would love for that to be like, okay, that's as tough as they get. And then after that, there's something even worse and crazier than that. And it almost seems like a Raditz to Vegeta and those kinds of things. Like, I'd love for the big bads to get even worse and worse and worse. I think that would be incredible. But Carmine has to be basically like the Star Trek red shirt kind of deal here. I'd need that to be part of this series for sure.
Yeah, if they do like their own, band of characters, they got to have a Carmine in there.
Totally.
This is the first episode, and then they meet another Carmine who then also gets shot. They could even do it like South Park, where a different Carmine.
It's a Kenny,
just like Kenny.
Yeah, and like he's gonna be like this super wholesome, like just joining the army just to make a difference and show his family that that's what he should be doing and proving all the things. But it's futile in the end. It's just gonna get shot. Like, yeah, just like Kenny, at first it's gonna be like this big deal, and then it just keeps happening. You barely even notice it, and then there he goes.
Oh, it's Carmine again. He's gonna get shot at some point in this episode, and of course he'll be looking for it. And then they could even do some fake outs where it looks like Carmine's about to die, and he's totally fine. Just like in the movie Hot Tub Time Machine, of course, Sean, where they talked about how the dude loses his arm in the future, but he has his arm when they go back to the past. It's like, all right, when's he gonna lose the arm? When's it gonna happen? And then when they build up to the moment, it's great. So
you need to address Seth questioning. He must respect our authority. He says, "Hang on, General Rom is one of the greatest villains in gaming history." He questions this. Ryan, do I speak out of turn when I say something like that?
I mean, I would only disagree with you because I feel like we didn't get enough time with General Rom.
So much potential.
Whereas I feel like the most of what I would consider the greatest villains in gaming, you get to know them, throughout the course of the game. And General Rom just didn't have enough time in the oven. But again, to your point, I feel like if they developed his character more, or if you learn more about him, I think he would just be a more interesting villain and actually be one of the better ones.
I think some of it is in you don't have to see the shark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Well, and again, the one time you see him, he's like, I think he kills Kim. He chokes him to death in the street with like fire in the background.
You can't escape him. He's a Michael Myers. Like, he'll just walk, and you can run as fast as you want. He'll catch up to you.
Yeah.
He's very imposing.
That boss fight with him is no easy picnic either.
No easy picnic. I want an easy picnic.
No, of course not. So you heard it here first, folks. Get ready for the Gears of War movie on Netflix, starring Chris Pratt as Marcus Phoenix.
Hang on a second. Did you say movie? This is a movie. I'm talking about this like it's a TV series.
No. They're doing a live-action movie
and
an adult animated series. They're doing two.
Okay. So my Dragon Ball thing applies to the series. Okay. I'm with you.
With the movie itself, I don't know what they do with that, or even if it's like, it's weird that they would do a live-action movie that then ties into an animated series. So I don't know if they'll be connected together. That's why I think like the live-action movie might just be the story of Gears 1. With Marcus Phoenix and that crew. And then the animated series is like its own side thing.
Fair. I need to direct anybody who disagrees with Seth Sturgill. Seth is really challenging the fact that General Rom is a great villain here. So $2 here on Twitter. You guys can direct your comments over there. Or me, if you disagree with me, I'm at Sean Capri on Twitter. That's fine. But I feel like this is a thing. I feel like people think General Rom is awesome. So there you go.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to point out Seth's comment here on the chat because I think this is really good. Seth saying, "I'm just realizing now that Sean's entire world would be changed if he played RPGs." Because that's true. I think a lot of the best villains in games are actually in RPGs. But at the same time, Sean plays RPGs.
I play not all, but I play some.
Because we had this conversation about Saren in Mass Effect before, how he's one of the best gaming.
Yes, he is.
And you agreed with me on that, and he's in an RPG.
Yes, he is. Thank you very much.
There you go. Also, Kevin Ainsworth said Michael Myers game a Halloween game would be amazing. We haven't had one since the Atari 2600 where you have played as Jamie Lee Curtis and ran away from Michael Myers. So, yeah, I would love to see it.
It's a walking simulator.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you are Michael Myers just walking around.
Oh, that'd be so good. All right. Well, next up, EA have announced this week that they are discontinuing the Project Cars series. So they stated that even though they had bought Codemasters and said these series will continue forever, they decided to part ways with the Project Cars franchise at this point. So the only reason I wanted to bring up this story, Sean, is like I wanted to know, because I know you're kind of the big racing fan of the two of us here. Did you really play any of the Project Cars games? Will
I
will it be
did.
missed? What do you think about this?
I think they're hard as hell and unnecessarily so. I feel like I fired up the game. I'm like, I'm ready to do some racing. I hit the gas and just spun out. I'm like, okay, I understand that maybe there's some reality that has to hit here, but it's like I started the game and couldn't drive. That might be my own. There's something wrong with me, or maybe I did something incorrect, but I feel like that's not a great experience. It's ultimate simulation. Like people talk about Forza Motorsport being like the simulation. Like, I don't know, at least I can play that game. I won't miss this very much at all. And yeah, let's let them focus. They've got so many other brands between with Codemasters and with Need for Speed and with Dirt and Grid and everything else that they've got going on. I don't think that Project Cars is what the landscape needs. I think we need more. I'm very much looking forward to the new Need for Speed game later on. I think that will more inform.
I keep forgetting
this
that's coming
thing.
out next month.
Dude, I know. Like and I think it looks pretty good. Like it's got a lot of attitude to it, especially somebody who would be satisfied if Forza Horizon 5 was the only racing game available. So I'm excited to see that. But I think there's so many brands, so many different just kind of racing games that they can attach themselves to. So this seems to me like they're just honing in a little bit here. They're trying to focus.
Yeah.
And decisions have to be made. So I'm not mad about it.
No, absolutely. I feel like more than anything, too, this actually frees up Codemasters to do
Exactly.
a bunch of different things. Maybe they make a new IP at this point, like a new racing game series, or do something else. It's interesting too that because we don't really usually get announcements like this. A lot of times, developers or companies will just stop making games in a specific series and just not tell you that they'll never make another one again. So I thought it was interesting that they actually came out and were actually putting out this statement saying, yeah, we think we're probably done with this and we're kind of ready to move on to do something else.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that we have official confirmation of this. And then last news story of the week that I wanted to touch on, because of course it's November, it's light news. Tales of Symphonia Remastered has a release date. It will launch on Xbox One and Series X and S on February 17th. Because all the RPGs are coming out in February of next year, and here's another one to throw on the pile. I know, again, if I didn't mention this story on the show, Kevin Ainsworth would, write, angry, notes in the chat, and I didn't want to, upset him a little bit today. I am excited to check this one out, even though it is going to be running at 30 frames per second, and this is a game that kind of relies on a good frame rate. That's why, like, the GameCube version of Tales of Symphonia will still probably be the best version of this game going forward, but it is going to be good to be able to play it on modern consoles. It is on PC, so I mean, if you have a PC, you can definitely play it there.
I have a PC.
Yeah, there you go. It's out on Steam for like $5, so you can play it there as well.
When you mentioned Kevin Ainsworth was going to write in, and then in the comments, I'm like, I would actually. This is going to come across maybe as a different way, but I think we need a PO box, not for people to send us like things. I want people to like write us like we're Santa Claus. Like I want them to write us like their wishes, like what's on their mind. Like actually write in. If you're upset, write a letter. You know what I mean? Like a sternly worded letter. I would love to go to a PO box. Just see like Kevin. I imagine Kevin Ainsworth too is like he's a bright dude. I think he's got his master's or something, and like for him to write a letter in wax crayon, I think would be absolutely amazing. Please, guys, we need to make this happen.
Sean, I don't know if you watched my Sims live stream where I was playing The Sims, but I was showing off the fan mail that I got from my Sims fans in the mail, and it was like they were like to my Sims name on, and like all the letters were in different colors, and they looked really creepy. Like I'm expecting that kind of mail.
Exactly.
To our PO box.
The Carpool Pen Pal program. Yes, that's exactly what we need. Okay, I've got work to do. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. All right. Well, anyways, let's let some of our friends into the car with us. It is time for the carpool. So let's start off with our friend Naga Chaka, who asks, Marcus O'Neill and I are going to play Red Dead Redemption 1 on our lovely Xbox machines to fully enjoy the 1080 and 4K resolutions. What are your favorite backwards compatible games to play on Xbox, and why is it Red Dead Redemption 1? Because, of course, Naga Chaka likes to throw that in there. I mean, just to give Sean time to think, my favorite backwards compatible game, I've talked about it on the show before, and actually it's kind of a group of games. It's the original Xbox backwards compatible games, because those games in particular kind of look like brand new games on the Series X, especially the ones that got 1X enhancements. So Panzer Dragoon Orta and Ninja Gaiden Black are my two highlights, especially because Ninja Gaiden Black is the best way to play the Ninja Gaiden reboot, and playing it in full 4K with brand new texture work and everything, it looks incredible on Series X, and it's definitely a game that's just infinitely replayable, and I love going back to. And Panzer Dragoon Order kind of fits into that same boat as well, where it looks gorgeous on Series X, and it's the game that's meant to be played over and over again. So those are my two that are probably my big highlights.
Keep going. I don't have a list coming up here.
So beyond that, I've also got Dungeons of Dragons: Chronicles of Mystaria, which was an Xbox 360 live arcade game, which was the two arcade ports of the two Dungeons and Dragons arcade games. Those games are super fun, especially if you've got 4 friends around. You can play some couch co-op or do like some online co-op for the game. And then one more I'll throw in there. I'll say the Fear series. I love going back and playing some Fear. But I'll let Sean Capri tell me why he likes Fear.
No, Fear is definitely the one, man. It's got FPS boost. That's the thing I was just looking to see here. Fear is an excellent game, man. It's a wonderful combination of being completely terrifying, but also very cliche. It's got the scary, like, little girl with the black hair in front of her face, very much out of the ring. But it's got a gun called the Penetrator in it, and how can you lose with something like that? You nail dudes up against the wall, and they just kind of stay there, and it's just totally insane. Very cool soundtrack. Absolutely unnecessary acronym as a title. First Encounter Assault Recon is FEAR for Fear. Very, very cool. But how can I not mention one of my favorite games of all time, Ryan? Dragon Age Origins, which I think needs all the help that it could possibly ever get. It does get FPS boost. I haven't tested it myself, but it is listed there. And finally, Fallout 3. Such a great game. I think as people are, looking forward to waiting the next 15 years for the next Fallout game, you should go back and play Fallout 3. I think a lot of people have their comments and thoughts on Fallout 4, but Fallout 3 is very, very special. So shout out to that one, man.
We actually, I'm trying to remember who it was, but someone wrote in last night to the RPG Cave saying they're playing Fallout 3 for the first time. And I'm like, man, I'm really
That's
jealous
so cool. It's so jealous. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's really good. And last question of the week is more of a Ryan Topher question, but Sean, feel free to comment on this one if you want.
Will do.
Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team, asks, need more Brian Murford Sims. When will this happen? I mean, I first of all, Sean, my debt has been paid to you because over the last couple weeks, I did 10 hours of Sims live streams. So, the debt's officially been paid at this point. Now I need to play some Farming Simulator at some point to kind of, not have Sean make fun of me at the end of the year. As far as another Sim stream, I don't know when that'll be at this point because I'm doing a Sega Genesis mini stream tomorrow because I'm actually really excited to show off that thing. And then I don't know when I'll do another Sim stream, but before the end of the year, Lee, I'll do another Sim stream again.
People liked it, man. I think people were very happy. And I think you also showed just that there's something to The Sims that people had no idea about. I think that was part of the best part about it. That you kind of just found this little niche in there, and I don't know. I thought it was really neat. I'm glad that it's on the YouTube. I also appreciate people in the chat vouching for you, as if there's not literal video evidence of this.
You could go to YouTube and look. It's there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Sean didn't even know you could go to an alien planet and go flirt with aliens in The Sims until I showed him in my stream.
It's something else, dude. Mm-hmm.
But anyways, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Xbox Drive. But before we go, Sean, plugs go.
Well, it's good to be back, Ryan. Thanks for holding down the fort while I was away traveling the last couple of weeks. We are in the countdown towards the end of the year. I want to thank everybody for donating literally everybody donated to Extra Life. We've got a lot of people joining us here on patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Lots of stuff coming. We're in review season. We're trying to keep up. I've got an amazing team around me. I also just want to extend thanks to you, Ryan, and everybody else, Court and Locklith and Seth and Matt and Garrett. And I probably missed somebody, but I think that's everybody.
I think not everyone.
If you would like to support the show, like us, follow me on Twitter at Sean Capri. Sean like Connor, Capri like the pants. I'm back, and I cannot wait to keep thing going, man. I don't even know what I'm going to play next, but back to you, Ryan Turfer.
Absolutely. I mean, we're only a month and a half away from Game of the Year talks at this point.
Sean, oh my God. You guys handle it.
It's just crazy to think about. Well, as for me, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. You can find us on Twitter at Carpool Gaming, on YouTube at youtube.com/Carpool Gaming, on podcast services around the globe. So for Sean Capri, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 265 of the Xbox Drive, and we out.
I forgot to mention, but it's a good thing I get a last chance to say and scream stuff at you guys right here. But we've got a lot of prizes to give away and about a couple hundred people who donated stuff. And thanks to Charles, thanks to Joshua Deal, Charles McGregor, who donated like so much money for Extra Life. You guys are all amazing. Stay tuned for prizes. Okay, bye-bye, bye-bye.
Greater than X.